Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to the ICAT Playdate, as we are here as usual, as every Friday. My name is Phyllis Newbill. I am the Associate Director for Educational Networks within one of the several centers within ICAT, the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts. I'm so glad to see all your smiling faces here this morning on this pretty Friday morning. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. We are filming this morning in 360. This fabulous robot-looking thing right here, hi friends online, is a 360 camera, so just know that what you're doing right now is being presented to all the world and will remain on the internet afterwards, so behave accordingly. If you haven't signed in yet, there's a sign-in clipboard. It's by the coffee right now. We'll pass that around. If you haven't signed in, please do. That's how we justify donuts. Very important. If you have questions while we're during the presentation, wait until the end. We'll tell you when there's time for questions. And when you have a question, make sure that I get to you with the microphone before you ask it so that our friends online can hear as well. Good morning if you're watching online. If you have questions there's a questions link either below or depending on how you're looking. On your screen, there should be a questions link, and feel free to put your questions in there. We'll get them and ask them. Also, if you're here for Professional Development Network credit, among other things, make sure you check in with me and say, hi, I'm here. If you're watching online for PDN credit, send me a note either through the questions link or an email if that's easier. Whew. Okay, and also Winnie's here this morning. Winnie lives here. She's supposed to be here. It's all good. She'll wander by. We're glad to have her. A couple of announcements. Coming up, major seed grants. ICAT provides funding, and so major seed grants are due February 10th. If you have a proposal there, let us know if you have questions on that. ICAT Day will be May 1st. This is a day we celebrate creativity and innovation across the whole university, and I hope if you are doing a project that shows creativity and innovation in any way or crosses disciplines or is funded by ICAT, or you just think is really cool, I hope you will submit it so that we can share it with the world on May 1st. And finally, Hokie for a Day. Field trips are happening starting next Wednesday, so fifth graders come to campus every Wednesday. We take them all around campus and they pretend to be Hokies for the day. It's really a lot of fun. During those field trips, there's an expo where they have the opportunity to have 5 or 6 hands-on experiences with students or faculty. If you've got something that you think would be great to share with 10 or 12 fifth graders at a time for a very short amount of time, it's like 5 minutes, I'd love to talk to you, and I've got a link that I can share with you so we can get you on that roster as well. I'm going to turn it over to ICAT's Executive Director, Ben Knapp, to introduce our speakers.
Thanks, Phyllis. Very briefly, ICAT had before, a few weeks ago, we had 2 centers. We started with the Center for Human-Computer Interaction and the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts, where I'm looking for Lisa, but I can't see. There she is, and Chelsea and Phyllis. So in our 11-year history, we've had 2 university-level centers as part of us, and we're adding a third, I want to say today. Officially, it was a little bit of time ago, but it's basically today with this event. We have it, and I don't think there can be anything more relevant to our times than a new center on the future of workplaces and practices. And I honestly, if you look what we're doing right this second, where Phyllis is saying there's a 360-degree camera with a robot. We're doing hybrid. There's people online. This is living the future of work right now. And right after this is over, I'm running over to the Moss Center. We have a workshop nationally that's talking about the future of work and creativity and the creative process. So I don't think anything could be more perfect than having a new center for the future of work. The final thing I'll say before introducing Sue is that the neat thing you should watch today during this 15-minute presentation is all of the amazing different backgrounds that each of the people have. I think I was talking to Ralph just a moment ago saying that I think one of the unusual, if not unique, things about this center is going to be the incredible array of different perspectives that are really going to be driving this center forward. So with that, I'm going to pass it to an economist, Sue Ge, who's the inaugural center director, to present the center to all of you. Here you go.
Thank you, Ben, for your very kind introduction. So my name is Chinga. So I'm an economist. So one of my research interests is to study the impact of emerging technologies on the labor market. So it's a great pleasure to have this opportunity to introduce this new center for the future workplaces and practices to you today. I'm very excited for this opportunity. So as we all know, and also probably experiencing right now, the world of work is changing very rapidly. New technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, robotics, and many, many more are poised to change the future work and workplace. So just last year, so it's as if there's a huge leap forward in artificial intelligence, for example. So we hear about ChatGPT, DALL-E, then Midjourney. So they are able to create this impressive text, image and artworks. So which made us wonder whether, artificial intelligence are gonna replace artists, writers, even researchers and educators like us. So what are the risks and the benefits of these increasingly powerful AI and other technologies? So these are the kind of questions we have, and we don't have a clear answer. But one thing we know for sure is that we are moving towards this new human technology ecosystem. And on top of that, then of course we have COVID. So COVID led us into these new conversations and decisions about remote work, about digitization, about automation. So these are all challenging questions. So against this background, so the future work at the human technology frontiers is one of the 10 big ideas for the NSF investments. So the NSF Future Work program that supports convergence research at the intersection of future work, workers, and technologies. So the idea is to build new human technology partnership and also build new technologies to enhance human performance, among other things. Virginia Tech is at the center of this conversation. So since 2017, Virginia Tech faculty have been awarded 14 awards alone from this NSF Future Work program, worth almost $13 million in total award amount. So we are in the lead. Virginia Tech is a very engaged and innovative leader in this conversation. And building on this momentum of existing research, so here comes our center. So the vision of the center is to be an international leader in research and education, exploring the complexities of the future work that is creative, integrated, inclusive, distributed, equitable, and symbolic. So we're doing all this great research already. So let me just come back to the slides. So I have 3 pictures here. So these are like 3 exemplary projects VT researchers have been doing from left to right. So one team of researchers are building drones, which will help workers to assess how to assess projects, like for example bridges, towers, pipelines. Another group of researchers are building Ironman-like exoskeletons to help improve worker productivity and safety. Yet another group of researchers are building this learning platform to help emergency responders to use human augmentation technologies. So the goals of our new center is really just to leverage all this existing research around campus to, in a wide range of areas that will impact the future work, and develop new translationary research areas. And we would also like to help faculty to increase opportunities to secure external fundings. Of course, we also want to provide interdisciplinary educational and research opportunities for students. Last but not least, We want to provide expertise and develop partnership with our community, not just our local community, but the Commonwealth, the nation, and even globally. So we're doing all these, exciting, future work-related research and teaching around campus. Today, it's a great pleasure for me to have some of the colleagues, join me here today to showcase some of the work we are doing. So we have, as Ben mentioned, the nice thing about it is, we have a wide range of expertise around campus. So today, I'm fortunate enough to have, people from experts from the Carilion, from College of Liberal Arts, College of Engineering, and Spear to talk about their exciting research. So I'm going to pass the mic to Sarah.
Sure.
Sarah,
Good
please.
morning. Thank you for the opportunity and the flexibility for to be able to talk with you all from Roanoke. I'm sorry to not be there in person, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for going to the next slide. So my name is Sarah Parker. I am a department chair in the Health Systems and Implementation Science Department, which is in Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. And so what I wanted to highlight today is a project that that our team did that kind of hits all of those different aspects of the intention of the center. And then I wanted to talk about kind of the work that we're doing next. So specifically focusing on the future of work in the health and healthcare environment. And our question, kind of along the lines of these creative, integrated, inclusive, distributed, equitable, and symbiotic relationships. Our question was really trying to think about what can technology do to help create excellent health and healthcare work environments. That's kind of an overarching, anchoring question for what we do in healthcare. As you know, I'm sure you have experienced yourself, healthcare now is this wild dance between technology and the human side of interaction, sometimes very effective and sometimes very ineffective, almost working at odds. And so our team, which I'll introduce in a second, was interested in learning more about how do we create shared awareness among a multidisciplinary team to be able to facilitate communication. So how do we understand the context? How do we promote that shared awareness so that teams can communicate really well when they need to, how they need to, at the right time? And so we were trying to answer a number of these questions. This work that I'm talking about now was supported by Steelcase and through ICAT. And so Tom Martin and Ben Knapp assembled a team that included folks from all across the university, and was really kind of a wonderful opportunity to better understand all these different disciplines and what they can do to contribute to this overarching question of what can technology do to create excellent healthcare. Can you go to the next slide for me? So these are just some pictures of the work that we were trying to do to better understand how do people create shared awareness in the healthcare setting. So you can see we've got an ICU unit up there on the top left. This is kind of your standard ICU. There is technology everywhere. There is technology that's giving you updates, that's behind time-wise, that's giving you kind of post hoc updates. And so we were really trying to see what are the opportunities here in this space. Down in the lower half of the slide, you can see some some drawings that were kind of overlaid on our existing technology work. This was integrated from our colleagues in architecture and design from Dr. Aki Yoshida, who helped us to really conceptualize what does the physical space mean to creating shared awareness. And then we were thinking about what technologies could we build and allow our frontline caregivers to really interact with, to try to understand what does it, if we put something new into place, what would it look like? And we did that work in the simulation center. And then to just kind of complement our run through a mixed methods approach, we also did interviews as well. And so we kind of mix this qualitative and quantitative data to come together to try and understand and answer these questions. You can go to the next slide. This has a couple of the outcomes from that work. So we designed some some physical spaces as well as specific devices that would help to create shared awareness among the team, the care team, patients, as well as the providers. And so this is kind of a manifestation of the types of work that I think we can do within this center. Since doing this particular project, this team has come together and has actually built on it. So I guess kind of showing, what amazing foundational support can do for you. That we were able to recently get one of the NSF Future of Work planning grants. So we're working on that right now, trying to understand what are additional pain points in terms of shared awareness and technology. And then we were also awarded one of the DA 2.0 grants. And so, we're continuing to really try to think about how best can we integrate technology in this multidisciplinary approach and the deliberate kind of vision of the Center for the Future of Work, I think deeply complements this kind of work. So if you're interested, this is kind of a healthcare stream of the future of work that we're doing here. One of many, I'm sure. And I believe I'm handing it over to Maz, is that right?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? My name is Maz Kardazi, and I'm an assistant professor of sociology at Virginia Tech here. The project that I'm going to talk about, it's on precision agriculture. I'm the PI on this, and we have 4 co-PIs who are at University of Vermont and South Dakota State University. This project is all responsible innovation on precision agriculture. It's funded by the National Science Foundation Future of Work at the Human Technology Frontier. This is a $3.5 million large research project that I'm leading. So what is responsible innovation? It's basically thinking about 2 things. One is, how do you move the moral compass upstream to the early stages of technological development, right? So how do you develop AI, but who are the AI developers? Because that's also one of the workplaces where AI gets developed. The other thing that we do is we flip how technologies are designed, and we think about farmers as being co-designers, right? So what happens when design takes place on the farm instead of it taking place in labs such as Virginia Tech? So there are 3 big objectives of this project, which are all connected to the future of work and workforce. The first one is about collecting data at 4 levels. So satellite imagery, drones, on-the-field soil and water monitoring sampling, and then you have like deep design workshops with farmers. But what we do with that data is really interesting, because that data helps us inform about policy, which means that a lot of environmental policy, a lot of soil health and water quality issues in South Dakota, Vermont, and Virginia are going to be tested, but also understood, like how farmers interact with these sensors and data that comes out of sensors, and what is the role of science and policy in those interactions. As a sociologist, one of the things that I'm particularly interested in this project is the issue of trust. Is how do you generate trust among farmers in these new technologies? And there are several ways in which we're doing it, through design workshops, but also doing in-depth ethnographic research with farmers in these 3 sites. I think connecting it to the center, one of the things that we found very interesting conceptually is this idea of the living labs. So we're focusing on 2 living labs. One is focusing on soil health, and the other is on water quality. We're working with 60 farmers in these 3 sites, and who've committed to work with us for 4 years. And through very in-depth research, we're understanding how they're making decisions, what are the ways in which AI tools can be beneficial for them, and what are the ways in which they can, in the future, design some of those tools, but also redesign how the farm may look like. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. I don't have my email here, but it's actually here right at the bottom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mars.
Thanks for inviting me for the presentation, and sorry for joining remotely. My name is Seoul, and I'm an assistant professor in Industrial and Systems Engineering Department. Our team is investigating future of remote work in distributed manufacturing. So many of the current manufacturing work, especially maintenance and service of equipment, is performed in person, as you can see in the left picture, due to the nature of the work. Like it requires a lot of physical and hands-on assistance. With the high demand on skilled technician now and the projected skills gap, our team is envisioning a future where mechanics can service and repair equipment remotely without physically visiting each facility, using robot as a medium. So these robots will need to work with another on-site humans because the current robot technology is not yet mature to mimic human dexterity required for repair. So our team is working on understanding what's the enabling robot technology that's required to realize the concept of human, robot, and remote human collaboration, as well as investigating potential barriers and facilitators to prepare for the future of manufacturing. Thank you.
Thank you, Sol.
Morning, everyone. So my name is Ralph Hall. I'm in the School of Public and International Affairs, where I direct the undergraduate studies program there, and I'm also an affiliate faculty in the Honors College here at Virginia Tech. So I'm going to talk a little bit about education. I've been working on sustainable development now for about 2 decades, and this is largely sort of captured in a textbook we have on this. And I've been teaching here at Virginia Tech a course looking at the future of work essentially through the lens of sustainable development. So if you think about every strategy you can advance to promote sustainability, it will definitely have an impact on employment, sometimes good, sometimes bad. So the 3 words on the front of this textbook is environment, economy, and employment. So we've been working in this space for a couple of decades. Here at Virginia Tech, the Honors College developed this idea of a super studio, which has a number of courses in parallel inside, 3-credit courses with a 1-credit sort of course that connects everything together. My colleague Darren Williams is here. He teaches the future of education section. I teach the future of employment. We've got colleagues on data, on environmental policy and so forth. And the idea is to really integrate an experience of students where they really get some disciplinary expertise and then work in transdisciplinary teams on real problems. We also did a course, which I'll show you the faculty behind in a second, on the future work for students at the 2000 level. So graduate sort of seniors and now entry-level students to Virginia Tech, to introduce them to a lot of the ideas you've heard about today. What this course revealed as faculty came through and shared their expertise was the deep bench of expertise we have. And when you align that expertise with the strategic initiatives that are happening here at Virginia Tech, we really do have a potential, I think, to do some transformative work to really advance the sort of human condition. And so if you, I guess I need to do it, advance to the next slide. Wrong way. Thank you. So just try and absorb some of the information up here. This was all the faculty that came through this 1-credit seminar and just almost did a TED talk on their really awesome work. So for me, it was sort of like a kid in a candy store, just absorbing all of this really interesting work. And you can see the disciplinary expertise, you can see the subjects that they were talking about. And I know there's at least several of you here and online who could also add new expertise and new disciplines to this. So this, I hope we'll do a version of this in the future. And there'll be 2 purposes. One is to sort of bring students with us in this sort of exploration of work, but also from a center perspective to start thinking very strategically about how we can work together and advance sort of really interesting research agendas. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah, Mars, Sol, and Raf for sharing their very, very fascinating research and teaching. I know I'm running out of time, so I'll be very quick. So please get involved. So as you can see, we have so much expertise and we welcome more. And so one way you can get involved is to apply for the ICAT grant. So we have some special grants, special projects on future works this year. So there might be multiple grants. Please, if you have some related work, so, talk to us. So there's some information here. So deadline is February 10th. This is a hard deadline. Melissa will tell you it's a very hard deadline. And another way to get involved is to become a member. Okay, so apply for membership, and there are a lot of benefits. So I'm not gonna read it. So some support. I think most importantly is the community. So we have a fantastic community, exciting community. Please join us. So I just conclude my presentation today by saying the future of work is here and now. Please join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue and team. Hold on to your mic. I think you're going to need it. We have just a couple minutes for questions for this crowd. So who has questions that they have? And thank you. This is so exciting about the transformative nature and all of these disciplines coming together. It makes me smile. It's so ICAT. I love it. I love it. What questions do we have? You're so quiet. You answered them all.
Wow, what an achievement.
What an
Thank
achievement.
you.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll come to you. I'll hold the mic.
Oh, thank you. So you mentioned about the SEES grant of the future of work. Is that SEES grant specifically targeting on future of work, or is it broad of ideas or topics?
It's a very broad call. So as long as it's something related to future work policy, practices, process, technology. So one requirement is we want to build these interdisciplinary teams. So we're welcoming a team of at least 2 faculties from 2 different colleges to apply for this grant. Thanks for the question.
That's good. We did have a question online about having the slides available. Some of the folks online were having trouble seeing the slides. Are you game for sharing those if someone
Sure,
is interested?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Can they contact you?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
They'll be in touch.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
All right, we have time for one more. It's so quiet. Chelsea has one. Thanks for coming up.
Hi, I was talking with my graduate policy class in higher education about some of the state higher education executive officers' top concerns for higher education, and several were related to folks who work at universities, and some of those concerns were about equities and inequities, belonging, and then the in and out migration of executive leaders in higher education. What kinds of ideas and things do you all hope to explore about future of work that might be related to folks who work in higher ed?
Well, so there are a lot of new questions and also challenges. I think one thing I've been following very closely is about this Chat GPT. Recently you probably all read in the news. So this new AI are doing homework for our students, taking exams. So they took exam and a very competitive Wharton business school. They got a B minus, which is considered a very decent score for that school, for that program. And then more recently, so they were listed as some co-authors in some research papers. So I think these are these very big challenging questions for higher education, as a teacher, as an educator, as a researcher. So I don't have a clear answer to these questions, but I think these are the type of conversations we need to have, among us, as educators and researchers, but also between us and the students. So what does learning even mean, for the next generation? So I think these are type of questions we want to tackle as a team. So I'm not the center is not about one faculty or 2 faculties. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be the community. So that's why we are here, to welcome everybody to join the community, to try to answer some of these very challenging questions in higher education and in many other areas. Thank you.
I want to thank you all again for being here this morning. Thank you, Sue, and all of the team for your presentations and for your work on this. We do these play dates every Friday morning. There's always donuts and coffee here, same time, same place. We'll be back next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you.